Good day traders, Stacey Burke from Stacey Burke Trading. Daily currency levels for the pound crosses Friday, May 1st. And today on the calendar we have at 10 a.m. New York Eastern Standard Time the ISM manufacturing tonight. Yesterday some huge moves. Looking at the pound Aussie first, we saw that market approached the 000 level at the bottom of that 250 pip box after 3 days straight down. The market rocketed over 300 pips from that low straight up through the highs of the week and through the swing high of last Friday. Currently we're sitting up near the high of that Friday swing high. There are stops up at the 9,500 level from the short trade up top there. This market has had an incredible move up yesterday off the lows. When we look at our 15-minute chart, we can see that consolidation, talking about geometric structure, great example of as the market approached that lower third level into a rectangular pattern that respected the low of Wednesday, before briefly breaking down at the end of Asia and then pulling back, consolidating and rocketing through the high of the day, up through the high of the 100 pip box, and then continuing that move for 400 pips plus, and still going this afternoon. As we look at the Asian session, we can see that they've extended the high after that initial 3-hour period. They're currently retesting that 94.50 level as we speak, as we head into the end of the Asian session. So this could be a significant level for a possible sell-off. Now again, we did see those stops just above the 9,500 level. When we look at this market today, we could have a stop hunt back into the Asian range to the 00 level, and then a continuation back through the high of the day, possibly testing that 9,500 level. This is a very strong move. The other scenario, of course, is the market could do a third push to the high for a stop hunt through the low of the session, back towards the breakout of Tuesday's high. Yesterday's high, my apologies, and retest that 93.50 level. Move this strong, possibly has room for follow through to test the stops above 9,500. Next up, we see the pound Canadian, and again, very similar. The market approached the lower boundary of that 250 pip box, stop hunting lows from the previous 2 weeks before reversing off of a pin hammer and rocketing up through into the next box above the 7,500 level, clearing out all the stops at the high of the week and currently testing possible stops from last week's high. When we look at our 15-minute chart, we can see again this market has extended its initial high of the day, breaking through yesterday's high, continuing that move up, and extending the current high up to the 7,600 level. Now again, those stops were up at the 76.25 level, and we're currently testing the 00s as we speak. We could see a stop hunt low and a retest of the high, or a breakdown and pullback for a stop hunt through the low of the day, reversing part of yesterday's move and testing traders from the New York session longs. Next up is our pound Swiss. Again, this market tested the upper boundary yesterday of the stops up near the 2,200 level before pulling back. We do have stops below the swing lows at 2,100 and below that as well, down at 2069. When we look at our 15-minute chart, we can see the market pushed up on that micro trend line before hitting the highs, engulfing the high. Great example of an engulfment at the high of the day. Stop hunting down through on traders that were long off the New York session towards the bottom of the 00 box before reversing with an engulfment and a pin hammer off the low of the day for a move back through the high of the day for 50 pips up before consolidating into the close. And we look at today's Asian session. They've come back to stop hunt traders that were long in the London session. We obviously have stops above the high of Asia. And the market is currently working the low of the day. So it is possible we could get another hit to the low for a reversal into the Europe Open, London Open, for a move back towards, the high of the day, and possibly retesting yesterday's high as well. If that market was to break down below towards the double zeros, you could see that market break through, test that level, and possibly continue back through to test the lows of Wednesday. Now currently though, if we look at our week, we can see that the market Monday, Tuesday set the high, came back on Wednesday and stop hunted the 2100 level. It has acted as a level of support for buying. We have stops up at the high of the week that are still intact. The market could definitely retest the high, and it's currently working the low of the day. Next up is our pound yen. Again, this pair had a big day yesterday, coming off the bottom of the 250 pip box at the low of last week. So again, just an example of where the market worked towards the low of the week before pulling back, consolidating, and giving us a pin hammer for a long, taking out the stops at the high of the week and stops from the high of last week, pinning the upper 250 pip box and clearing out stops from 2 weeks ago as well. Currently below the 3500 level. There are still stops from 2 weeks ago up top. This market will have to get through that 3500 level to be able to continue up there. We had a 3-push pattern going into the Asian Open this morning with a hammer right at double zeros at the open of the market. And if you notice, just at the top of our 3-hour high of the day window, the market broke out and pulled back into the close of the session and then retested that double zero boundary inside of the US session high. It's since dropped down, come off of 50 and consolidated. This market could definitely retest the lows of the day and follow through for a move back towards double zeros and possibly even back towards traders who were long off the US session yesterday. For this market to go back long, we would have to see it test the low of the day, stop hunt and reverse, and possibly head back towards the high of Asia. Currently though, if this market was to break down, we could see that market pulling back and testing all the way back down towards the 3350 level. If it was to go back off of 50, it could certainly retest the highs of the day. Currently though, I would say this market is weak, and it's possible we can definitely have a stop hunt that carries through the low of the day to continue into Europe and test the double zeros at 3400. Next up is our pound New Zealand. That market had a massive day yesterday, similar to the pound Aussie, pinning the low of the 250 level box and reversing it, breaking the micro trend line and aggressively rocketing up through the 500 level box into the upper box. Just demonstrating on the 4-hour as well, there are still stops in place from the high of the week up above the 700 level, close to the 750 level box, and shorts from the 2 weeks ago up at that level. So there are still existing stops in place. This market has had a huge run, and there's no reason to say why it couldn't continue that to test the 750 level. Again, we can see that that first 3 hours of the market set a high and a low. They've extended that out, continuing to extend that. This market could continue to push up through the 650 level and head towards the 700 and possibly the 750 level. There are stops at the low of the day. But again, similar to the other pairs, market's had a very strong move up, and at this point it continues to make new highs. In a situation like this, you want to be careful counter trending a market like this, because it can keep going against you, and it's showing no signs of weakness at this stage. Now that said, it could hit the 50 level and retest double zeros for a move back up, and how it holds at the double zeros will determine whether or not this market indeed could roll over to test the low of the day. And lastly, our pound. Big day for the pound yesterday as well, moving into the upper 250 pip box with a pin hammer, breaking through the highs of the week, clearing out stops from last week. There currently are still stops intact above the 2650 level. This market had a big run up before consolidating and pulling back. When we look at our 15-minute chart, we have a sort of a half Batman style stop hunt. The market consolidated underneath the high of the US session in that 3-hour window. Pulled back off the double zeros before dropping down to the 2550 level. It has since stayed inside of that range in the second 3-hour window. Depending on how it handles the low and the high, we could see this market stop hunt down low for a move back up off of 50 towards the high of the day and possibly carrying through the high of the week, or this market could possibly roll over at the high, heading back down through 50, stop hunting traders who were long off the US session. Again, two scenarios. Currently, we're below the upper box level. There are stops above the high of the week. This market has come off of a very strong move, but could certainly roll over and stop hunt traders who were long off the US session. So hopefully you got some value out of today's video, traders. Keep it simple. Mark off the highs and the lows. Wait for the market to violate one of those areas. Look for the price action to confirm an entry at that level, either at the high or the low, possibly at numbers. 1-bar stop, profit target. Lock it in, let the trade play out to its fruition. The 5 P's of proper planning prevents poor performance. I love this because it's just something that I constantly have to remind myself of, is if you're prepared every single day and you run through the scenarios in your head, when the market makes its move, you may not catch the first move, you may not catch the high of the day, but you can possibly catch the low of the day. You may not catch the low of the day, but you possibly can catch the high of the day. There's plenty of trades. Keep it simple. Focus on executing your trading process. Hopefully you had a great trading week. Let's end it that way. Have a great trading session, and may the markets go with you.
Hi traders, it's Stacey Burke from Stacey Burke Trading. If you haven't done so, please head over to my website at staceyburketrading.com. I create updates on almost a daily basis, and I would love for you to receive them. Just click on the blog. If you want to enter your name and your email address, I'll send you my free audio program, the 7-Step Daily Routine for High Performance Traders. This is essential knowledge for all traders in all markets, and this is for helping traders to master the market with discipline, confidence, and a winning mindset. I appreciate all your feedback and comments. As always, traders, stay disciplined, and may the markets go with you.